We have a significant amount of snow where I live, so I like to refer to this time of year as soup season. So I thought the dolls in the dollhouse might like some bread bowls filled with clam chowder. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, we're going to start by making the bread bowl that we'll put our clam chowder into. And for that, we've got a ball of polymer clay. This is our normal bread mix, which is 4 parts white polymer clay and 1 part of Sahara colored Fimo. And I've rolled that into a ball that's about 3/8 of an inch in diameter. And I've got a piece of really crumpled up aluminum foil here. And I'm just going to roll that ball on the aluminum foil. We're texturing the outside so it looks like bread looks when it comes out of the oven. And roll it until you get as much or as little texture as you would like. I like a lot of texture on mine. Then I'm going to put it down. I'm going to kind of flatten the bottom, just kind of push down just gently so that you have a flat bottom. Then I have my chalks. These are our artist chalks that we use all the time for coloring our polymer clay. I have 3 colors. I have a yellow ochre, I have a rust color, and I have a dark brown. We're going to use very, very little dark brown. You could probably even skip the dark brown if you want to. And an eyeshadow brush. This is a clean eyeshadow brush. It's just really, really stained because I've used it a lot. So I'm going to put this up in my hand, and I'm going to take the lightest color, the yellow ochre, and coat my entire outside of my clay ball. And this is the color you're going to use the most of. Kind of roll it around, just get it covered. Kind of wipe that off to the side. And then the rust color. And we're going to do the same thing. We're making a layer of this color. And then if you want to use the dark brown, just take just the tiniest bit on the corner of your brush. Oh, it's a little too tiny. Okay. And just put just a little bit on. That way it looks like it got a little bit more baked maybe than it needed to. And now this needs to move to the freezer for 15 minutes to get nice and solid, because at the end of that 15 minutes we're going to come back. We're going to cut the top off and texture the inside. And we can't really do that without smushing it at this point. So I'm going to put this in the freezer, and when it's nice and solid, I'll come back and then we can go on to the next step. All right, this is nicely firmed up, so I'm going to take my clay blade. Be very careful doing this. I tried doing this on the tray like I normally would, and it didn't work. I found I really needed to hold this in my fingers and cut in just a little bit. We want to keep this round. I've got that flattened side against my tip of my index finger. I want to slice off this top slice. Whoops, and my hands are shaking. Of course they are. There we go. Now we've done minimal damage to our loaf. We have this piece we cut off the top. I have a piece of sandpaper, and I'm just going to press that down against the sandpaper. That will texture that inside just a little bit. And now I'm using an X-Acto knife. This happens to be one of those really cool ones that goes on your finger. You can use a regular X-Acto knife. But we need to cut out a place that we can put our clam chowder. And don't worry about how the inside of this hole looks. We're not going to see this. This is going to be covered up. We might see part of the top edge depending on how you do your fill. But turn that over so that we can texture that very top. Now, these pieces are going to go onto a paper plate, and we are going to work on some of our fillings. So I'll be right back. All right, I have 4 colors of clay here. We're going to make some little bits that we can mix into our liquid clay to represent, maybe the potatoes and the clams and whatever else we're putting into our clam chowder. So what I have is a piece of translucent clay. I have a little bit of white. I have some Fimo in apple green, and I have some beige Sculpey. I picked the Sculpey beige because it's kind of a pinky beige. I'm going to put the green and the beige off to the side. And this is probably, I would guesstimate, I probably got 4 parts translucent to 1 part white. So I'm going to mix these 2 colors together pretty thoroughly. Get this all mixed because we want some translucency to our fillers. They'll look a little more realistic that way. There, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to cut off probably about 1/3 of that. I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to cut this part in half. Now, I'm going to take a tiny bit of this beige, probably about that much. I'm not measuring anything, I'm just guessing. That's probably about, again, probably one part beige to maybe 2 parts of the white translucent mix. Just eyeball it, make it how you want it to be. You could use different colors. You could add some orange to one of these. We're not going to see much of this. This is mainly going to be hidden. It's just going to add, little bits of it will stick up on top. And remember, those holes in those little pieces aren't very big. There we go. So that's mixed. Now the rest of that mixture, plus just a little bit of green. And I picked just a light green, whatever the lightest green I had was, because this is going to look like celery. And this Fimo is a little hard because it's been in my stash for a very long time. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get this one mixed up because this is going to take me a bit of time. Once I get this mixed up, I'll come back and we'll make these little bits. All right, I have all 3 colors mixed, and I've got a piece of parchment paper. This is one of those little squares that you can buy at the dollar store. They're really handy for working with clay on top of. And I didn't mix the green in as thoroughly as I would like to. It's not playing nicely today, and this clay is very sticky, but it's not working at the same time. It's sticking to everything. There, put a little cornstarch on top so it'll roll out nicely. We want to get this pretty thin. Now that beige mixture. Give my cornstarch back. Since these are light colors, cornstarch will work just fine to roll out your clay so it doesn't stick to your roller. And let's get the white mixture out. All right, now, excuse me, I'm going to take my clay blade and I'm going to make cuts into this. I want to get it pretty small, little tiny doll-sized bites. And off camera, I'll probably chop a little finer so that it's in even smaller pieces. But I'm going to get this all chopped up, put it on the paper plate with all of my little bread bowls, which are all now rolling around. I made a couple off camera so I could take photos, and also the one on camera. And I'm going to bake all of this at the recommended temperature for my clay for 10 minutes, and then I will allow it to cool to room temperature, and then I'll be back and we can assemble our clam chowder in our bread bowl. All right, so I have this lovely little batch of little pieces of clay, and they're big compared to, they're not in scale, but they're going to be mostly hidden. We need them to be a little bit big so we can actually see them. So I am going to set this off to the side and get ready to make the liquid portion of our chowder. All right, I've got a piece of aluminum foil to work on. I've got some white liquid Sculpey, and I've got just a tiny bit of yellow ochre and white oil paints. And I'm going to take just a tiniest bit of the yellow ochre, mix it into the white to just warm it up. That's what I want. And now we're going to mix that into my liquid clay. That way I've got a creamier color. than what I had before. Now I'm going to get a clean toothpick because I want just a little bit. And then I've got these little pieces. Let me see, no, it's not in the camera. Let me move the foil just a little bit. There we are. I'm going to put some of this over here. Get some of these pieces mixed in. Hopefully some of each. But you just want just little bits. You don't want to see very much of this. You want it to be and that's really all you need. I'll do another one. And I've got plenty of little bits of clay that I can use to make more bowls or to put in other things. I managed to get oil paint all over my fingers. Get a piece of, and off camera I might take a few more little pieces and put them on just onto the top. It's hard to do on camera because I can't really get down where I can see what I'm doing very well. But let's go ahead and put some more. Oops, let's put you off to the side. Because we want that to look nice and full. Put a few of these little pieces kind of down so they just kind of stick out of the liquid a little bit. Kind of push down in. You could even put some of the chowder running over so it looks like you've overfilled. And when you get these filled up the way you want them, put them back in the oven at the recommended temperature for another 10 minutes. Then I'll let them cool after I do that to room temperature, and then we can look at our finished clam chowder bowl. And there we have our 3 bread bowls of clam chowder. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Be sure and check the blog post for more information and photos as always. If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you to hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. If you like today's video, be sure and hit the like button and let me know what are some of the foods you'd like to see me make in future videos and other kinds of things too. I will talk to you next time. Bye.